The notification from my credit monitoring app hit my phone at 0347 hours while I was pulling guard duty at Fort Carson. My name is Trevor Gentry. I'm 32 years old, Marine Captain, currently stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado on a joint training. Been here 8 months. Should be heading home to Camp Pendleton in 4 weeks. The alert showed a new inquiry on my credit report. Someone had pulled my file for a disability benefits claim. Problem was, I hadn't filed any claims in the past 6 months. Last one was for my shoulder injury from that IED blast in Syria 2 years back. That case closed months ago. I stared at the screen. The inquiry came from a law firm in San Diego I'd never heard of. Kellerman and Associates. They'd accessed my credit report 3 days ago at 2:17 p.m. Pacific time, right when I was running combat drills in the Colorado mountains with no cell service. I opened my banking app. Account looked normal. Checking showed my regular direct deposits. Savings untouched. But something felt wrong. The timestamps on my recent logins didn't match my memory. Last login showed yesterday at 11:43 a.m. I was in briefings all morning yesterday. Never touched my phone. I called my bank's fraud line, waited 23 minutes on hold. "Sir, I show recent activity on your account," the representative said. "Someone accessed your online profile Tuesday using your credentials. They downloaded several statements and tax documents." My stomach dropped. What kind of documents? Bank statements, W-2 forms, and what appears to be medical records you had uploaded to our secure document storage. Medical records? I'd uploaded my military injury documentation to my bank's vault feature last year. Thought it was safer than keeping paper copies in my barracks. The shoulder injury reports, X-rays, doctor evaluations, everything someone would need to file a disability claim. Can you tell me the IP address of that login? I'm not authorized to share that information, sir. You'll need to file a formal fraud report. I hung up, pulled up my email, searched for anything from Kellerman and Associates. Nothing in my inbox. Nothing in spam. But someone was using my identity to file legal claims I knew nothing about. The wind picked up across the training grounds. My relief guard wouldn't arrive for another 2 hours. I had time to dig deeper. I opened my military benefits portal. Logged into the VA disability system. My heart rate spiked. There was a new claim filed under my Social Security number. Filed 6 days ago. Status, under review. Estimated payout, $47,000 in retroactive benefits. Someone had submitted a claim for chronic shoulder pain and PTSD. Used my medical records, my service history, my injury documentation. But I'd never filed this claim. Never even considered filing for PTSD benefits. The claim listed a different mailing address. Some apartment complex in San Diego I'd never seen. Phone number I didn't recognize. But my name. My Social Security number. My military ID number. Everything else was perfect. I screenshot everything. Started a new folder on my phone labeled fraud. Then I saw something that made my blood freeze. The claim had been submitted with a power of attorney document. Someone had legal authority to on my behalf. The signature looked exactly like mine. But I'd never signed any power of attorney. I stared at that forged signature for 10 minutes. The handwriting was perfect. Every loop. Every slant. Even the way I dotted my I's. Someone had practiced this. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus Chen, my buddy back at Fort Carson. "Yo Trev, weird question. Did you ask someone to pick up mail from your P.O. box?" I called him immediately. "What do you mean pick up mail?" "Some woman came by the postal center yesterday. Said she had authorization to collect your mail. Showed them paperwork. They gave her a stack of stuff." "What did she look like?" "Blonde. Maybe 35. Professional looking. Had a briefcase and everything." I knew exactly who that was. Stephanie Walsh. My former coworker from the base legal office. We'd worked together for 8 months before my RI. She'd helped me set up my banking documents. Had access to my signature on dozens of forms. "Marcus, I need you to do something. Go to the postal center. Ask them what kind of authorization she showed. Get copies if you can." "This sounds serious, man." "It is. Someone's filing fake disability claims using my identity." I hung up and opened my laptop. Started researching Stephanie Walsh. Found her LinkedIn profile, still listed as working at Fort Carson Legal Services, but her recent posts were strange. Photos from expensive restaurants, new car, designer clothes, all posted in the last 3 months. Her salary was maybe $45,000 a year. These weren't $45,000 lifestyle choices. I dug deeper. Found her Facebook page. She'd been posting about finally getting what I deserve and justice for all the years of hard work. Posted a photo of herself at some law firm in San Diego, Kellerman and Associates, the same firm that had called my bank. My hands were shaking now. I pulled up my old work emails. Found the thread where Stephanie had helped me upload documents to my bank's secure storage. She'd walked me through the entire process, watched me enter my passwords, saw exactly where I stored my medical records. She'd been planning this for months. I called the Fort Carson legal office. Asked to speak with Stephanie Walsh. "I'm sorry, Ms. Walsh is on extended leave," the receptionist said. "She's been out for the past 6 weeks." "Extended leave for what?" "I can't share personnel information, sir." 6 weeks. Right around the time someone started accessing my accounts. My phone rang. Unknown number with a 619 area code. San Diego. "Trevor Gentry?" "Speaking." "This is Janet Morrison from Kellerman and Associates. We represent you in your disability claim. I wanted to update you on the status." I kept my voice steady. "What kind of update?" "Great news. The VA approved your claim. We're expecting the first payment within 2 weeks. Our fee will be deducted automatically, as outlined in your retainer agreement." "Remind me what our fee arrangement is." 30% of all retroactive benefits, plus a monthly percentage of ongoing payments. Standard rate for disability representation, 30% of $47,000, plus monthly cuts from future payments. Stephanie had set herself up for a long-term payday. "I'd like to review that retainer agreement," I said. "Of course. We'll mail a copy to your address on file." The fake address in San Diego. "Actually, I'm deployed right now. Can you email it instead?" "I'm sorry, but our policy requires physical mail for legal documents. Security purposes." She hung up. I immediately called my bank again. Different representative this time. "I need to place a fraud alert on my account. Someone's been accessing my documents without authorization." "I can help with that, Mr. Gentry. Let me pull up your account," I heard typing. Then silence. "Sir, I'm showing that you called yesterday and authorized document access for a third party. The authorization is still active." "I never made that call." "The call came from your registered phone number. The caller provided your social security number, mother's maiden name, and the security question answer you set up." "My mother's maiden name. Stephanie knew that from my emergency contact forms, but my security question answer was something only I should know. Unless. I checked my old work computer login. The password recovery questions I'd set up 2 years ago. Stephanie had been sitting right next to me when I'd answered those questions. She'd joked about how obvious my answers were. She'd been collecting my personal information for years. Marcus called back. "Got the postal center info." The woman showed them a notarized power of attorney. Looked official. They made a copy. "Can you get me that copy?" "Already did. Sending it now." The document arrived in my email 5 minutes later. Perfect letterhead. Official stamps. My signature at the bottom. Dated 3 months ago, right before but I'd never been to a notary 3 months ago. I was in training. Every day accounted for. I zoomed in on the notary stamp. Rebecca Martinez, commission $4,471,829. I looked up her information online. Found her office address in Colorado Springs. Called her directly. "Ms. Martinez, this is Trevor Gentry. I need to verify a document you notarized 3 months ago." I'd need to see the document to confirm. "I'm emailing it now. But I want to be clear, I never came to your office. If this document exists, someone forged my signature." Silence while she reviewed the email. Then, "Mr. Gentry, I remember this appointment clearly. You came in with a young woman. Blonde hair. She said she was your legal representative. What did I look like?" "Well, you were. Actually, now that I think about it, I never saw your ID. The woman handled all the paperwork, said you were in a hurry. Stephanie had brought someone to impersonate me, probably paid some guy to sign my name while she handled the details. Ms. Martinez, I'm active duty military, currently deployed overseas. I haven't been in Colorado for 4 months. Oh my God. I need to report this immediately. I hung up and stared at my folder. Bank fraud, identity theft, forged legal documents, fake power of attorney, mail theft. This wasn't just some opportunistic scam. Stephanie Walsh had been systematically stealing my identity for months. She'd used her position at the legal office to gather my personal information, used her knowledge of military benefits to file fraudulent claims, used her professional connections to make it all look legitimate, and she'd stolen $47,000 in benefits that belonged to me. The worst part? She was probably doing this to other deployed soldiers, people who couldn't monitor their accounts, couldn't catch the fraud in real time. I opened my laptop and started typing an email to the Fort Carson Criminal Investigation Division. This wasn't just about my money anymore. This was about every soldier Stephanie Walsh had betrayed. The Criminal Investigation Division at Fort Carson moved fast. Within 6 hours of my email, Special Agent Rodriguez called me on a secure line. Captain Gentry, we've been tracking similar cases. Your confirms what we suspected. Walsh isn't working alone. What do you mean? She's part of a network. Legal assistants, notaries, even some VA employees. They target deployed personnel specifically. Your case gives us the documentation we need to move. Rodriguez connected me with Agent Clark from the Federal Insurance Fraud Task Force. Clark had been investigating fraudulent military benefit claims across 3 states. Captain, we need your cooperation for a controlled operation. Walsh doesn't know you've discovered the fraud yet. We want to keep it that way. The plan was simple. I would return from as scheduled in 2 weeks. Contact Stephanie about a new legal matter. Wear a wire during the meeting. Get her to admit to the fraud on tape. She'll be suspicious if you just show up, Clark explained. We need a believable reason for contact. I thought about it. I'll tell her I'm filing for increased disability benefits. Need help with the paperwork. She'll see $signs. Perfect. But Captain, this woman has been doing this for years. She's smart. Don't underestimate her. 2 weeks later, I was back at Fort Carson. The Colorado air felt different after months overseas. Everything looked smaller somehow. I called Stephanie from my apartment, kept my voice casual. Hey, it's Trevor Gentry. I'm back from MIDE. Remember you helped me with some paperwork before I left? Of course. How are you? How was the Bana? Rough. Actually, that's why I'm calling. I aggravated my back injury over there. Doctor says I might qualify for higher disability ratings, could use some help navigating the paperwork. Absolutely. When can you come in? Tomorrow afternoon work? Perfect. 2 o'clock. I spent the evening reviewing the wire protocol with Agent Clark. The recording device was smaller than a quarter. Attached to my chest with medical tape. Remember, we need her to admit to accessing your records without permission. We need her to acknowledge the forged documents. Most importantly, we need her to implicate her network. What if she doesn't take the bait? She will. Greed always wins with these people. The next afternoon, I walked into the legal assistant's office. Stephanie looked exactly the same. Professional blazer. Friendly smile. Perfect predator camouflage. Trevor, you look good. Treated you well. Can't complain. Ready to be home, though. She led me to her office. Same desk where she'd probably planned my financial destruction. So tell me about this back injury. When did it happen? I fed her the story. Training accident. Chronic pain. Doctor's recommendations. She took notes eagerly. This could definitely qualify for increased benefits. I'll need to review your existing medical records first. Make sure we're not missing anything. Actually, that's interesting. I've been having some issues with my accounts lately. Weird charges. Thought maybe someone got hold of my information. Her pen stopped moving. What kind of charges? Bank stuff, mostly. Someone filed some kind of legal claim using my name. Crazy, right? Who would do something like that? Stephanie's smile flickered. Identity theft is unfortunately common with military personnel, especially during deployments. Yeah, that's what I figured. Good thing I caught it early. The bank's investigating now. They're tracking down whoever filed the fake paperwork. Fake paperwork? Yeah, someone forged my signature on a power of attorney. Used it to file fraudulent benefit claims. Stole like $50,000. Can you believe that? Stephanie set down her pen. That's terrible. The weird part is, they knew details about my military service, my injury history, stuff that's not public record. Almost like someone with access to legal files was involved. The room went quiet. Stephanie stared at her notepad. Trevor, I think maybe we should reschedule this appointment. Why? I thought you wanted to help me with my claim. I do, it's just, I'm not feeling well suddenly. I leaned. Stephanie, is there something you want to tell me? I don't know what you mean. About the $50,000 you stole from my accounts while I was deployed. Her face went white. I think you should leave. I think you should explain how you accessed my medical records without authorization. How you forged my signature. How you filed fraudulent claims in my name. You can't prove anything. Actually, I can. I have bank records, notary statements, digital forensics. Your fingerprints are probably all over the forged documents. Stephanie stood up. This conversation is over. Sit down, Stephanie. We're not done talking. You need to leave now or I'm calling security. Go ahead. Call them. Agent Clark from the Federal Fraud Task Force is waiting outside. He'd love to meet you. She sat down hard. What do you want? I want you to tell me how many other soldiers you've stolen from. I want names. I want to know who else is involved. I can't. If I tell you, they'll. They'll what? Kill you? This is financial fraud, not the mafia. Stephanie put her head in her hands. You don't understand. This wasn't my idea. Whose idea was it? There's a whole system. Legal assistants at different bases. Notaries. Even some people at the VA. We share information about deployed personnel. Target the ones who won't notice for months. How many soldiers? I don't know exactly. Maybe 200 over the past 3 years. How much money total? Millions. Maybe 8 or 9 million. I felt sick. And you just. What? Split the profits? I needed the money. My mom's medical bills. My student loans. I never meant for it to get this big. But it did get big. And you kept doing it. I tried to stop. But once you're in, they don't let you out. Who's they? The organizers. Marcus Webb runs the operation out of Denver. He recruits people with access to military records. Pays us a percentage. How does it work? We identify targets gather their personal information. Webb has people who forge documents. File fraudulent claims. The money gets split between everyone involved. And you thought you'd never get caught. Deployed soldiers don't monitor their accounts closely. By the time they notice, we've moved the money offshore, changed the paper trail. Except I noticed. You weren't supposed to check your credit report. Lucky for me, I did. Agent Clark chose that moment to enter the office. Ms. Walsh, I'm Agent Clark with the Federal Insurance Fraud Task Force. You're under arrest. Stephanie didn't resist. She looked relieved, actually. Like she'd been carrying this weight for years. As they led her away, she turned back to me. Trevor, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am sorry. I watched them put her in the federal vehicle. Felt nothing but emptiness. Agent Clark returned 20 minutes later. She's cooperating fully. Gave us names, locations, bank account numbers. This is going to be a massive case. What happens to the money? We'll recover what we can. But honestly, most of it's probably gone. These networks are sophisticated about moving assets. And the other soldiers? We'll notify everyone we can identify. Help them file claims with their financial institutions. Some will recover their losses. Others won't. I drove home thinking about Stephanie's words. 200 soldiers. $8 million. All while we were overseas serving our country. The betrayal wasn't just personal anymore. It was systemic. 6 months later, I was back at Fort Carson. The Colorado mountains looked the same. The base felt different. Stephanie Walsh received 8 years in federal prison. Marcus Webb got 15. The Denver operation collapsed when Agent Clark's task force raided 12 locations simultaneously. They recovered $2.3 million from various accounts. Not enough. Never enough. 147 soldiers received partial restitution. 53 got nothing back. The insurance companies fought every claim. Said the soldiers should have monitored their accounts better, like that was possible, from an operating base in Afghanistan. I kept my promise to help the others, started small, made phone calls, wrote letters, connected soldiers with the right lawyers. The work grew. I partner with legal aid to represent troops in denied claims cases. We've recovered over $400,000 so far. Not enough to fix everything, but enough to matter. My credit score recovered. The fraudulent accounts disappeared from my reports. The financial institutions eventually acknowledged their security failures. Offered me a settlement that covered my losses plus damages. I donated half to a fund for military families affected by identity theft. The nightmares stopped after the first month. The anger took longer. Some days I still felt it burning in my chest when I thought about Stephanie's betrayal. How she smiled at me during video calls while stealing my identity. But mostly I felt tired. The kind of bone-deep exhaustion that comes from learning people you trust can destroy you without blinking. I moved off base. Bought a small house in Colorado Springs. Quiet neighborhood. No neighbors who knew my story. No one asking questions about the trial or the investigation. My phone still buzzed with alerts from credit monitoring apps. I check them religiously now. Probably always would. Trust. Once broken, never fully heals. It just learns to function with scar tissue. Last week, Agent Clark called. Another case. Another network. Another group of deployed soldiers getting robbed by people they trusted. We could use your help, he said. You understand how these operations work? I said yes. Not because I wanted to relive the investigation. Because other soldiers deserved someone who understood their situation. Someone who knew what it felt like to discover your life had been stolen while you were serving your country. The work wasn't glamorous. Mostly paperwork and phone calls. Following digital trails through banking systems and credit reports. Connecting dots between fraudulent claims and missing soldiers. But it mattered. Every recovered dollar mattered. Every exposed network mattered. I sat on my back porch that evening, watching the sun set behind the mountains. No alerts on my phone. No suspicious emails. No unexpected visitors. Just silence. The kind I'd been searching for since that first credit alert 6 months ago. It was finally over, and the silence felt earned.